down. Buzzer beater, do it all now.
We're going to be selecting this poster on the wall, so we're going to hold Option and drag upwards to duplicate the clip, and then we're going to go over to this little magic wand tool, go down and go to Add Magnetic Mask. Click once to make a selection of what you want to mask out, in this case, this poster. Hold Option and click where you don't want to select part of this. That looks pretty good. Then I'm going to click on Analyze, and this is going to use AI to create the magnetic mask. All right, just finished. So here's the result. Looks pretty good. I'm going to click on Done to finalize that mask. So now you can see what it looks like. I want to spin this or rotate this. So what we can do is just go over to this plugin here, the M extension. So MotionVFX and I collaborated on a really cool collection that is available now for you guys to use. Link is going to be in the description. It takes you to this page here, and these are all handpicked by myself, so you guys can know what I'm using on my personal projects as well, but also on the YouTube tutorials. So if you go down, you're going to see these really cool presets that are already made. You just have to quickly change the text and anything else that you want. So these are all fully customizable from typography, right? You have a whole bunch of all of these really cool typography presets, but these are the ones that I've added that I think you guys will enjoy. So once you have the M extension opened, as you can see here, you can go on all of them, but I'm going to go over to the KingTutsPro's collection. We're going to add this one here, the camera movements. So click and drag this onto your clip here. Then once you've added it to the timeline, it's going to look like this. It's going to spin really slow. So I'm going to trim it here, and I'm going to delete the end. So why don't we just group them? So select both of those clips, hold Option G to group them together. I'm going to name this clip 1 and click OK. You can see through the video, but does add like a mirrored effect to this, which is not what we want. Double click on the compounds clip to open this and select the clip. Go to where you can see the mirrored effect, which is here. Then go to the scale all and just bring this down. So zoom out of it a little bit to like 55, depending on the size of your mask. So now you can't see any of the edges. So now it's only this clip here. If I go back and I scale this back up to the original size of the frame, to something like this, so it matches up. There we go. If I push play, it's just going to spin. And you could also adjust all of the values by going over to the parameters for MotionVFX. So you can change the rotation type. So all the presets have their own settings. You can change the rotation type to ease, constant, and smooth. I'm going to leave it on ease and just go back. So now if I push play, it's going to look just like this. And you're pretty much done. So here's the original clip. This is just straight from the music video. I want it to start here. So I'm going to press Command B. I want to select the chain that he's wearing. So I'm going to go and duplicate this clip. So hold Option to duplicate the clip. Then we're going to add a magnetic mask, and we're going to select just the chain. Make sure you don't select anything else. So if you need to, just hold Option and click to deselect which you don't need. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but go ahead and click on Analyze to make the selection of just the chain. All right, so I just finished. You can see the quality of the tracking. It did a really good job with the magnetic mask. You know, adjust the feather if you want. I'm gonna click on Done first, and I'm gonna disable the bottom clip. I don't think we need to really feather this. I think it looks really good how it is. So now what we wanna do is, because this clip is acting as just the chain, let me show you. So this is just a chain. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out of the canvas or the project window to about 50% or so, just so we can see the background. You should be able to see this. Just turn this on to actually see it. I'm going to actually start this out of the frame, and I'm going to rotate this like almost like this, right? I'm going to add a keyframe, and I'm going to go all the way towards the end, but one frame to the left. Now I'm going to go to where it says position. Just type in 0 for X, 0 for Y, 0 for rotation, press enter. And now if I push play, it should just go straight just like that. So now if I click on done and I go to full screen, it's going to look like this. It looks a little bit slow. We need to add a little bit more motion to this. So you can just go over to the effects, go to blur, add a directional blur to this. And I'm going to increase the blur, not too much because it's not moving as fast. I say a little bit less, so something like that. I am going to leave it because it's starting as it's moving. But around here, I want it to start to kind of ease out of the blur. So I'm going to add a keyframe next to amount and angle. Skip a couple frames about here. I'm going to go to 0 for amount. So as it nears the end of this clip, the blur will go back to 0. So if I go back and push play, it just goes just like this, super smooth. Now, let's say you don't want it to start or like have it be the entire length of the clip. Just right click on that top clip and go to show video animation. And you're going to move the transform to the left here so that it goes in much quicker. Hold shift and click and move these for the directional blur, so you don't have to change the keyframe settings. I did add in another cool blur, and that is from the M extension, the collection that I've added. So I'm going to add and drag this one over here. So it's called Zoom BR2W. You can also find this under the themes for education, minimalistic, and presentation. And this is part of the M coaching collection, by the way. So now if I go back and I push play, it's going to zoom in like this, and you can drag the on-screen control over to like the chain logo. Maybe you don't want the prism. You could actually turn off the prism effect. You can turn that off, and then you could increase the blur if you wanted to, or bring it down. I'm going to bring it like 4. Zoom scale, I don't want it to zoom in too much. And you can turn on or off the animations for animation in and out. So now if I go back and push play, it looks just like this. So this is the original shot of this. I want to zoom into the screen and then reveal this bottom clip. We're going to mask out this screen. So we're gonna go over to the down arrow, and we're gonna go to add magnetic mask. Click once to make your selection, and then you could just hold Option to deselect anything else you don't want the mask to be part of. That looks good. I'm gonna click on analyze. Okay, so once you're done, it's going to look like this. It's gonna be like a floating, floating screen, which is actually what you want. We're going to duplicate this again. So hold Option and just let go to make another copy. Now the top clip, we're going to invert the mask so that it's the opposite of this. So we're going to be hiding the screen and revealing everything else but the screen. So we're just going to go over here, and you're going to see this little oval icon. Click on this and go to invert masks. Make sure that's unchecked. As we play it, we want this clip here, this one, the screen to either drop down to the side or whatever you want. You could be creative with this at this point, but I want it to start here, the effects. So what I could do is press Command B, because I don't want it to affect the entire clip. I only want it to start from here. Then I want it to end all the way to the end right here. Okay, go to the beginning and go to transform, add a keyframe, and then go towards the end, 1 frame to the end actually. And then you're going to just drag this down, clicking and dragging. You are going to have to bring this all the way down though, because if you leave it right here, when we zoom in, you're actually going to see the screen, because it's still on the screen. So make sure that this is actually all the way out of the frame. Start the effect at the very beginning. If I go over to the transform and I click crop and I click on Ken Burns, it's going to create a nice smooth zoom in effect. So this looks good. So we're going to click and drag one of these end or corners and bring this inwards so that this rectangle is inside of this black box, which is where we made our mask. Now you're going to see if I drag this, it kind of snaps to this and it's very annoying. One way to get rid of that is just hold Command, and this will allow you to kind of get it to where you want it exactly. And then let go, then click done. It's going to start right away though, which is, if that's what you want, that's great. If not, go to the first cut that you made, press Command B. Then you're going to turn off on the first clip here, make sure it's selected. You're just going to switch this back from Ken Burns to trim so that it does not zoom in, and it starts the zoom in right here. And this is exactly where I want it to start. Everything looks really good to me. Now we're going to create a blur. So go to the effects, go to blur, add a directional blur onto the second clip here. And I want it to start not with a blur. So I'm going to just go like this. I'm going to go down to 0, add a keyframe, and we're going to just skip a couple frames about here. And then we're going to increase this quite a bit and maybe increase it as it goes down. That looks pretty good. So now if I go back, push play, it zooms out. Perfect. Just as before, you're going to need 2 different shots. So you're going to need the first one that's underneath. This is the original music video, and then another shot of another scene. So this scene is the one that I'm going to be kind of transitioning into. Okay, so go to where you want the effect to start in this shot. So I want it to start 3 frames in, and then the clip is going to begin kind of revealing itself. So we're going to create a mask of our subject. In this case, we're going to mask out our artist. So we're going to go over here, make sure your clip is selected, click this little magic wand tool, go to add magnetic mask, make your selection, click analyze. It's going to quickly analyze your shot here. Okay, it just finished, and this is what it looks like. Did a fantastic job. So click on done, and now you have masked out your subject, but it looks really, really boring, and we need to kind of stylize this. So one way we can do that is by creating a glow reveal effect using another mask on top of the mask that we have already made. Hopefully I didn't confuse you, but you're going to go over to the effects. You're going to go to the masks and keying. You're going to go to draw mask and add that onto your clip. And then you're going to go to the beginning, and you're going to make kind of like some curvy lines. So if you click and drag you're going to make something like this right here. Kind of want to go like that. Make it a little bit more dramatic on your subject right here. If it's like this, it's going to look like a straight line. So you want it to be a little bit kind of like that, all right? Then you can kind of just do something like this, doesn't really matter. Then zoom out to 25, maybe 50%. And then you're just gonna go around your subject and keep it at 50%. You can see our subject is right here. So click on the draw mask again, and we're gonna drag this bottom line, so this one and this one. You can click and hold shift to select both of them, or you can click in between those 2 points and just drag this down. So this has to be bigger than your video, which it is not, almost there. Then what we're gonna do is you're gonna drag this out of the frame from the bottom, because I want it to start from the bottom up. Then I'm gonna go to draw mask, I'm gonna add a keyframe next to control points and next to position as well for transform. Then I'm going to skip a couple frames, not too many. I don't want it to last the entire clip because I do want the clip to also play underneath. I'm going to start this about 5 frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to drag this all the way up so that this mask is over our entire video frame, if that makes sense. So now go back to fit. And then now if I go back and push play, it looks just like this. This comes in way too fast. So I can just go and right click and go to show video animation and extend this out a little bit longer. Boom, I think that's perfect. Now I want to create a blur, like glowing effect to this. So just go over to the effects and we're gonna go to all under video and type in glow and add that onto your clip. Okay, so it's gonna look like that. Then we're gonna add a color inspector like correction. So under where it says no corrections, go to the down arrow and go to color board. And then you're gonna increase the exposure. So under highlights, increase that. Maybe increase the midtones just a little bit. And you could do the color as well if you want. Now I'm gonna press Command B because I don't want to affect this clip here. Hold Option on this first clip and duplicate this clip one more time. Then you're gonna select the bottom clip and we're gonna go over to the effects and you're gonna go to blur and you're gonna add a Gaussian blur to this. So add it underneath. And you're gonna see it just adds a nice little glow to our subject where you can then increase the amount if you wanted to. So that's honestly pretty much the effect. That's all you have to do. So now if I go back and push play, you have this super sick kind of mask reveal. If you could leave a like so far, that would be awesome. And let's move on to last and final effects. All right, so for this to work, you're again gonna need 2 different shots, the first one and your second shot. We're gonna select the first shot and we're gonna use the Ken Burns technique. So if you click on the crop tool here and you go to Ken Burns, you're gonna see I've already positioned it like this. So you're gonna go to the end of that clip, go 1 frame to the left, and you're gonna drag this red rectangle down, okay, because we want it to start at the original size that we have our video at. But we're going to zoom into an area that we want to zoom out of in the next shot here. Okay, so now on this one, we're going to go to crop and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go from trim to Ken Burns and we're going to try and get it as close as we can in terms of size because the size does kind of matter. Now, if I push play, it's going to zoom in and then kind of almost zoom out of that same one that was on the first one. So one more time so it's not confusing. Our first shot, if I go to crop, we're going to start big and we're going to end small right here. Then the second shot over here, we're going to end big and start small over here. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. Do take advantage of the M extension plugin for Final Cut Pro. But if you guys want to try it out, be sure to use the link in the description and go to my collection, which is over here, the KingTutsPro's collection. This does get updated pretty frequently, but if you guys found this video helpful, if you could leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out. I'll catch you on my next video.